Hello and welcome to English Not Permitted, the only channel on YouTube dedicated entirely to foreign language film and TV shows. Today I want to talk about a challenge that I've set myself and this channel, and that is watching and reviewing and analysing the BBC Top 100 Foreign Films list. So it's my goal to watch every film on this list. I'll probably do it over the next year or two because I'm going to do one each week. In this video, we're going to take a look at this list and some of the films on it. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself a little bit and tell you who I am and why I'm doing this challenge. So first of all, hi, my name's Jack, and I decided to start this channel because watching foreign films has been a huge part of my life for the last couple of years, especially. It's a hobby of mine, and I realized no one else was doing this online. So what I wanted to do was create a community of people who like to enjoy foreign language films and learn about other cultures. I think I enjoy foreign language cinema because I've seen pretty much every major film in English at least 5 times. Part of me likes to branch out and explore other films from around the world. Now, I'm not a film critic, far from it. What I can offer to you and people who watch this channel is that I've lived abroad for the last 10 years, doing 3 years in Spain, 4 years in China, and now 3 and a bit years in Thailand. So I've got lots of international experience. I love learning about other cultures. I've traveled to many different countries from around the world. And on this channel, not only do I want to review the films on this list and other films from around the world, I also kind of want to delve into the issues that are raised in these films and take a look at some of the cultures that are represented in the films. In addition, I love learning languages. As I just mentioned, I studied Spanish at university, so my Spanish is pretty good. My Chinese got pretty good when I was living in China as well. Anyway, let's take a look at the list of the BBC's top 100 greatest foreign language films of all time. So first, let's talk about how this list was made. So BBC Culture polled 209 critics in 43 countries around the world to find the best in world cinema. Each critic voted for 10 films, ranking them from 1, favourite, to 10, 10th favourite, with number 1 being awarded 10 points and number 10 being awarded 1 point. In the end, these were all totaled up, and the film with the most points won. So it sounds like this was a pretty comprehensive list made by film critics who know what they're talking about. As you're going to see in a minute, there's quite a lot of these films that I'm unfamiliar with, so I'm trusting that they know what they're talking about here. And from what I've seen on this list so far, they do, because none of these films have been bad so far. Some of them really interesting films. So the most successful country on the list was France with 27 films. There's 12 films that are filmed in Mandarin Chinese, followed by 11 in Italian and 11 Japanese. So as you can see, France dominates the list with a whole 27% of the films on the list. If I do have a problem with this list, it's that it's a little bit unequal in terms of where it's from. Now, I don't know if these are or they aren't the best films ever made, but one thing I do know is there's only one African film on the list in Tukibuki from Senegal, and only one South American film on the list, which is City of God from Brazil. Now, as I told you before, I have studied Latin American cinema a little bit, and there's some fantastic Latin American films, so I'm a little surprised there's no Latin American films on this list. Sorry, I mean South American, because there's actually 4 Mexican films, bringing up the total for Latin America. There's also only 4 films on the list directed by women. Now, apparently, according to the poll, it was split 50-50 between men and women who were the film critics, so this was voted for by women too. There are 7 directors on the list with 3 or more films on the list. The directors with the most film on the list are Luis Buñuel and Ingmar Bergman, each with 5, followed by Andrei Tarkovsky, Akira Kurosawa, and Federico Fellini, each with 4. The final 2 with 3 or more are Abbas Kiarostami and Wong Kar-wai, with 3 each on the list. These 7 directors make up a whole 28% of the films on the list. And my aim is to review one film from each of these directors as soon as possible to try to get to know them a little more. The vast majority of the directors on the list only have 1 film on the list though. Let's take a look at the top 10 on the list. So at number 10, we got La Dolce Vita, Federico Fellini. Number 9, In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar-wai, which I've already reviewed on this channel and I wasn't a huge fan of actually. The 400 Blows, Francois Truffaut. 8.5, Federico Fellini. So Fellini then has 2 in the top 10. Persona by Ingmar Bergman. The Rules of the Game, Jean Renoir. Rashomon, Akira Kurosawa. Tokyo Story, Yasujiro Ozu. Bicycle Thieves, Vittorio De Sica. And at number 1, Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa. Again, Akira Kurosawa with 2 nominations in the top 10 list. So currently the only 2 films I've seen in that top 10 list are In the Mood for Love and Rashomon. I still haven't seen number 1, Seven Samurai. I'll have to fix that soon because I really love Akira Kurosawa's stuff. One thing I noticed about the list is that it's quite an old list. A lot of the films that make it up are pretty old films. The decades with the most films on the list are the 1960s with 21 films, followed by the 1950s with 20 films. By my calculations, 55% of the lists were films made before 1970. So in this list, we're going to be really delving into classic cinema. So this should be quite interesting. That'd be why I'm unfamiliar with quite a lot of the films on this list, because I generally don't watch a lot of films before 1970. So it seems I've got quite a lot to learn so far. Okay, so now I want to talk about the channel going forward, how I'm going to incorporate this challenge, and how you can join me by doing this challenge along with me. So actually my main aim for this channel is to build a community of people who love foreign language cinema or learning about other cultures, or ideally both. One thing I'm quite proud to have so far on the channel already though, is quite a few really insightful comments with people who have either a different analysis to me or just want to add their thoughts to a film. And this is what really excites me about the channel, the fact that this could become a place for people to watch films, not just passively, but actively, and a place where we can delve into the characters, the directors, the cultures of the films we watch. I certainly don't think my analysis is going to be 100% correct all of the time, and I really want your feedback on some of these films. I'm going to commit to watching, reviewing, and analyzing one film from the list each week. If I have time, I may also release another review from a film not on the list, probably a more modern one, or a film that's from a country that's not represented on the list. Because I'm also interested in watching not just the best films from around the world, some of the weirdest, most interesting, cheesiest films from around the world too. Or any film that's just completely different to stuff that's Hollywood's churning out. I may also possibly review books and TV shows in the future too. However, these books and TV shows have to have been published in a language other than English to start with. The first films that I'll be reviewing are Taste of Cherry by Abbas Kiarostami at number 97 on the list, Wild Strawberries by Ingmar Bergman at number 89, Aguirre, Wrath of God by Werner Herzog at number 17, La Strada by Federico Fellini at number 83, and The Seventh Seal, also by Ingmar Bergman, at number 30 on the list. I've already watched these films and I'm currently working on filming and editing these reviews, and I'm already really excited that I started this list. These are some very, very interesting films. They're not perfect. I do have some criticisms. I don't just want to sit here and talk about how great these films are. I want to talk about some of the problems with the films too, or some things that I just didn't like. But overall, they're very, very interesting. The directors have made some very interesting choices in these films, and just some of the topics are stuff that just aren't covered in films I've seen from Hollywood or English-speaking cinema. I've also already reviewed on this channel Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon at number 78, and In the Mood for Love at number 9. I'm probably going to try and save the films in the top 10 of the list until a little later. One, I want to wait till I've got a few more followers and more people are engaged in the channel before I do that. Two, I'm new to reviewing films, so my reviews and my editing is going to get better as we go on, so I'd rather wait till I've picked up a couple of these skills first before I review the top 10. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Next up will probably be Wild Strawberries or Taste of Cherry. See you on the next one.